So guys, we've been tracking the massive labor disruptions across the country, which are largely good. You have workers who are going on strike and authorizing strikes. You have workers who are quitting en masse. And we've also seen a few of these incidents popping up where a group of workers at a restaurant or a Dollar General or whatever, they just decide like, we're done here, we're leaving, we're locking up this door, we're out. So the latest one of these happened at a McDonald's. Let's put this tear sheet up on the screen. This is pretty interesting, or a tweet on the screen. This is from Jeff Stein. He mentions an amazing moment in a story where McDonald's workers realize that their boss needs them more than they need their boss. Product of tight labor market among the kind we haven't seen in years. And he has a little screenshot of the article where Matt texts his colleagues that the regional supervisor had called him, was trying to entice him to stay, but that he was not going to betray his friends. Matt says, she's desperate now. They agree, yeah, she really is desperate. And so effectively what happened here is this group of workers at a McDonald's, they were making, what was it, $9.25 an hour.
Yeah.
And the owner of this McDonald's owned a number of other ones, and the workers at the other restaurants were making $15 an hour. So these McDonald's workers were pissed off. They thought they deserved at least $10 an hour, okay? $10 an hour. It's not a lot that they're asking for. They're not even asking to be raised to the wage that the other McDonald's workers in this same little chain of franchise owners were making. So they sent in a petition to the regional supervisor. They say Dustin Snyder was tired of the low wages, the 60-hour work weeks, and the impossible to please customers. So in early September, the assistant general manager at McDonald's drafted a petition that laid bare months of building anger and frustration. We are all leaving, the petition threatened, and hope you find employees that want to work for $9.25 an hour. Nearly all of the 24 employees had signed it. A few added their own flourishes, like we need a raise or piss off, wrote another one. They responded and said basically, well, we're not going to respond to these sorts of threats. We're not going to lift your wages. And so all of these workers got together and basically walked out. There's a good end to the story, which is that all of them have been able to find jobs at higher wages.
Lumber mills elsewhere.
Making more, and this is not a particularly economically prosperous area, but even in this area, they were able, in Bradford, Pennsylvania, they were able to find jobs that were making more than the $9.25 an hour. And this part is really galling, though. After they all leave and had, really tried to do whatever they could to get their wages lifted to $10 an hour, they drove by about 6 weeks after the walkout. They drove by the McDonald's, and there's a sign on the window, hiring pay starts at $10 an hour.
Yeah, there you go.
That was all they were asking for, a 75-cent raise. That was it. That was all that they were asking for. And out of basically spite, the owner and the regional supervisor here wouldn't give it to them. And now that they're gone, they're realizing we just can't get workers at that price. They're lifting the wage anyway when they could have just given these workers a raise to start with and kept their crew together.
Yeah, and it's just amazing because they kept losing staff to Walmart. So when you're paying less than Walmart, something's going on, right? So they would point to entry-level jobs in the area at $13.75 an hour, or even Tim Hortons, which is paying $12 an hour. And that McDonald's just refused to increase its price. And finally, just to jack it up to 10, what it took was all of them walking out. And I'll point to something we covered earlier in the show, which is that these Kaiser workers, Kaiser Permanente, healthcare nurses, they're asking for a 4% raise. This is they're not gold diggers, okay?
Right.
Like this ain't a lot of money. This is a pretty reasonable thing. From what I understand, people are eating more fast food than ever. So last time I checked, they're making a pretty good amount of money. And it just shows you that the fact that they were even able to get all the jobs immediately after they quit shows that the power of the labor market right now. But I also was kind of sad when you read it because the guy, Dustin, he didn't want to quit. He liked his job.
He liked his fellow workers.
He was an assistant general manager. He was like, I like being a leader. I like my coworkers. Like, we all have fun together. I just want to be paid like a human wage, which is normal in my town. And they were like, no, we're just not going to do it. And so him being the leader that he was, he said, fine, let's go. Let's walk out.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what happened.
He said, let's walk out. And he also pledged to his fellow workers that he would help them find jobs making more than what they were making at McDonald's. And ultimately, they were all able to do that. I mean, there's a few things that are interesting here. I mean, again, McDonald's ultimately penny wise and pound foolish here because they're ending up having to pay people
more
the $10 an hour anyway. for a much less experienced crew of workers who have to learn the ropes and start from scratch and don't have this group cohesion that this previous group of workers clearly did. So that's one piece. The other piece is, imagine if these workers had been in a union. Then they wouldn't have had to leave and go elsewhere when actually at least one and probably several of them actually enjoyed working together and wanted to stay at McDonald's. They just wanted to have conditions that were respectful of them and that they were able to survive on. So if they had a union, they would have been able to have a strike, put pressure, have a contract negotiation. They would have had power in the situation other than just having to leave. So you can see the difference in how this plays out for these workers who just have to ultimately leave and go elsewhere. And fortunately, the labor market is such that they were able to make that work in this time versus the workers at John Deere and other places who actually have some leverage and some bargaining power collectively to get that better wage, those better set of benefits, to get rid of the two-tier structure, whatever it is that their grievances actually are. They can stay in the job that they may actually like, that they've been at for a long time, and be able to fight and bargain for those higher wages. So I think it's interesting from that perspective as well.
Yeah, I mean, overall, we're just seeing the revolution all across the American economy. Media's really not covering it, but these are the real stories that are affecting real people's lives. So in a way, you like to see it.
You do.
You like to see it.
Very interesting to see it. We wish these workers all the best.
Absolutely.
And we wish you guys the best too. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you guys soon. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut. Our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.